Most people treat Ahrefs keyword research just like Google. They type one keyword, they grab a few ideas, and then they wonder why their SEO fails. But the main reason is because they skip one crucial step, and that is keyword clustering. And what they end up with is random pages that compete against each other and don't target the main search intent. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Ahrefs to do keyword research with my 3-step flow that I use in my agency, and how to export them in a clean and structured way, cluster them together so you have a clear strategy to follow. So let's get to it. So we're going to start easy. I'm going to show you the 3 main techniques you have to export keywords in Ahrefs. Don't try any others. With these 3, you're going to get everything you want. And just to get your motivation going, know that the exact techniques I'm going to show you in this video help this client I got here a few months ago go from this amount of traffic at the beginning when we didn't start, and then the research was done and we started going live with pages. Look at the difference, 7,000 clicks in a month. It's normally not like that. I'm not going to hype it up, but it is possible that it's like that. And everything I did there is going to be in this video. So the first way to export keywords will be in Ahrefs and the Keyword Explorer. And all you have to do is put a keyword related to your business. And at the beginning, it will look something like this. And you can actually put several keywords instead of just one. Then you need to put the target location. And I recommend that if it's an English-speaking country, just use United States because it's the country with the most data, most keywords, and so on. And then search. And whether you put one or several keywords, you will see this report overview that tells you all the information about the keyword or the several keywords. But we want to find keywords and do keyword research. So you have to go to Matching Terms Report. And it's pretty straightforward. You're going to see all the keywords in the world, in America, that contain the keyword or keywords that you have added as seed keywords. You can play with the filters, you can do a lot of crazy stuff, which will be in the next chapters, or even just export right away. There's some pros and some cons of doing it this way. That's why you shouldn't do it only one way, you should do it the 3 ways. The main pro is that you are controlling the keywords that you see by the seed keyword that you've added. So you will only see keywords that contain fuel. And if that keyword is related to your business, you'll probably see relevant keywords here. When we start to filter by include, like you can do here, or exclude keywords, which is in the next chapter, you'll see even more relevant ones. But the main problem that we're going to solve with the second technique is that you are creating your own little world. I call it like that. The pro becomes a con. You are only seeing keywords that contain fuel. So if there's a keyword related to your business that doesn't contain fuel in this case, you're not going to see it and it doesn't exist and you won't create content for it. And that's where the related terms report comes. And it's not perfect, but it solves exactly that problem. You want to go to all terms and then top 100. And as you can see, you're seeing keywords here that don't necessarily contain fuel. And as he explains right there, what you're seeing is the keywords that the top 10 or top 100 websites that rank for the keyword that you added a seed, fuel, also rank for. So in simple terms, other topics that competitors that are relevant to you are also targeting that don't contain fuel necessarily, which is exactly what we want. Right here, what you can do is either add include, exclude, explain in the next chapter, export right away, or a pretty cool technique, which will be explained also in the next chapter. And finally, a super underrated technique, which is exporting all the keywords from your competitors. To start with, you actually have to go to Site Explorer right here and you can start if you know a competitor right away from a competitor, or you can just put your website, subdomains, and search it. So the first report you'll see is the overview, and you can see here the traffic also predicted pretty well and going up. But you don't care about that. You actually care about organic competitors. It's basically going to find the different websites that are sharing traffic with your website. And most of the time that is going to be business competitors, but they're really called SEO competitors. And all you have to do is go right here and identify which ones are actually competitors of yours. And from this point onwards, you can just open one here and go and see the keywords that they rank for. This is one of the things I was super surprised when I started doing SEO, that you can just see everyone's strategy, because this is their SEO strategy. As you can see, these are the keywords that they rank for with the pages that they're targeting. And you could even go more in depth to reverse engineer what they're doing. You have a lot of filters here to see what you want, but right away you can export. But what I recommend you to do is only export if it's a true direct competitor, because if not, you're going to get too many relevant keywords in your end product research. This is going to surprise you. If you actually start exporting right away, you're doing a big mistake. The first thing you have to do is brainstorm, and brainstorm a lot. This is what your brainstorm is going to look like and how it looked for my client. So don't be scared, because it's actually pretty straightforward. The reason why we need to brainstorm is because we need a control and an order to know what keywords to put here, what keywords to put as include, and what keywords to put as exclude. Doing this will make sure that we find all the keywords that we want and we don't miss any opportunities, and that we bring as little irrelevance as possible into our research, and later on it's way easier to find the opportunities. To start, it's very straightforward. Start writing unique single keywords that are related to your business. For example, my client is about fuel, and based on the initial meeting, I know they sell fuel, diesel, petrol, gasoline, gas, and a lot of things. You don't even need to start categorizing between core and seed, just write unique words. Another place where you can find these unique words once you run out of them is put one of those unique relevant words about your business right there, and no filter at all, and you'll see this left column has unique words, and it tells you how many times each one has been mentioned here and the traffic that it gets. So long story short, there could be relevant words here related to your business that you just couldn't think of, and now you see them. For example, injector. That could be relevant. If you're not really sure, all you can do is just click it, and now you're going to see all the keywords that contain fuel and injector, and you can look at the top ones. They are the ones with the most traffic, and if you see that most of this looks relevant to you, then injector is something related to your business. And again, don't export. All you do is go and put it in your list right here. And remember the technique I told you before about related terms from your competitors that they're also ranking for and targeting in this case? Here's where it becomes really relevant to find those words that don't contain fuel. So you can see here, energy, gas, fossil. So that's probably fossil. They mean fossil fuels probably. And again, it's relevant. These keywords are targeted by competitors of yours. So probably I will go and write fossil in my brainstorming. But there's a main flaw with this. You need to know quite a lot about the business. So for example, if you are an SEO, you cannot be asking your client constantly, is this word related to your business, or it isn't, or is it somewhat related? You simply can't. And this used to be such a big headache for me, but I found a technique that solves it from scratch. And it's called tokenization. What you're gonna do is this. You're gonna go to the website of the client, just literally Control A, select everything, Control C to paste it, and go to a column and just paste it all in there. It looks ugly, but AI is gonna take care of it. And you can do it for as many pages as possible in your website, and the more you do, the better. And you can do the same thing for any direct competitors. And by direct, I mean competitors that do exactly what you do and that they don't do other things that you don't do. Just completely direct business competitors. It's crucial that you only do it for those. Then the next thing you can do is go to the Google Search Console of the client, go to queries and export all the queries that they're targeting and ranking for. By the way, if you do it this way, you can only get 1,000, which by the way, you're lucky because last week I did a video on how to bypass that 1,000 limit and get all the keywords that your client ever ranked for in Google Search Console. And I just realized this wasn't on. And now it's on. And again, you can just put all those keywords in here and you're good to go. Another thing you can do is also go to a main competitor of yours, remember, direct business competitor, and export all of their keywords and put them in your sheets right here, all right here. Now, after doing that, you might be wondering, okay, but what is tokenization? Tokenization is a technique where you give a lot of words. It could be words with 2 words or whole sentences or paragraphs. And what the technique is going to do is single out all the words one by one and mention how many times each word is mentioned in all the content that you gave. Basically, the frequency. And that's what you see right here. After everything we gave, we can see that diesel, fuel, gas, they are mentioned a lot of times within the content that we gave. Now, here's the smart thing. You're gonna be like, oh, that's cool. We've used content from our client, their website, their Google Search Console, or direct competitors that do exactly what we do. Which means if it's in this list, we offer it or we do it. So we don't need to go and ask the client anymore, do you offer this, do you do this, and so on. We see it right here in an SEO format, which is single words. So now those words, we'll be able to use them as single words in here to see keywords related to that, single words in here to filter by only show me words that contain that word that you can put. And yeah, that's it, those two. After you've done that, there's like a 1-minute step prompt that you do with ChatGPT that I teach you how to do it in this video. So go and watch it. It's in the description and in the card right here. Remember, this step, you need to spend quite a lot of hours. So you can see this list became very big after a lot of work. So once you've done what's in the video, you'll end up with something like this. And here you can start to see things that are relevant. Tank, gasoline, engine. This is all very relevant, fluid track that you can add in your list right here. If you want, and if you do start to see the patterns, because sometimes you might not see the patterns until the next chapter, meaning when you start exporting. But if you see them, you can actually start to separate by core and seed. Core are just literally the most important words that probably most of the time are going to be used here only. And seed are the keywords that most of the time are probably going to be used as include. So fuel and then something else. But keep in mind that not always they'll be only used here. They might actually also be used as a seed keyword right here. But it's not really crucial that you do this yet. And now finally, we are ready to start exporting. So the time has come, this is what you were waiting for, time to export. And trust me, you're gonna spend a lot of hours here. Here's where the whole magic happens. After spending quite a bit of time in your list, now you can start to test things. So let's go and put fuel right here. We have fuel. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time, once you put one of those generic keywords, you'll see a lot here, right? This is 800,000, it's pretty unrealistic to export. There's not really a magic number I can tell you. All I can give you is the tools of what to do and what to check so it works for your niche. A number I can give you is 10,000. Anything over 10,000 normally starts to become big. So keep an eye on that. It doesn't mean you don't have to export. It's just like, okay, this is already big and you can keep an eye. But here's the crucial thing that will help you understand if I should export right away or if I shouldn't. Why should I not just export? Because like I said at the beginning, you want to get as many relevance as possible, but avoid bringing too many irrelevance in. They're always going to come in. It's literally impossible because if not, you'll be just selecting one by one and we don't have time for that, but you don't want too many. So there's two places that I look at, in this column right here and at the top keywords right here. You can start to look at out of these single words right here, how many are actually relevant and how many are not relevant. And if the ratio is not great, it's literally telling you that within this big list of the raw keywords, there's a lot of keywords that are not relevant to your business because you can see them right here in another format, but you can see them. But sometimes it can be confusing to understand if this is relevant or not by seeing it in a single word basis. So what you can do is have a look at the first few set of keywords or even the first 2 pages of keywords. The reason why you don't have to go and look at many more pages is because the top keywords you're going to see are the ones that are the most popular and with the most searches. So the chances are that many of the keywords that are in pages 6, 17, 200, whatever, are variations of the ones that you see at the top, or at least related to it. And the same logic is here. If you start to see a lot of keywords that are not relevant to your business and the ratio is not great, it means that you have to export. And there has to be a pretty good ratio, meaning, for example, here, the ratio I have normally depends on the niche, but normally is if sort of 70 to 80% of the keywords here are not completely related to my business, I don't go and export right away. And keep in mind that normally you won't really see a chance where you just put a keyword right here and you export right away. Normally you're gonna have to do the include, which I'm gonna explain next. So let's add that include. For example, I see fuel and I see delivery, right? That's what I found in my brainstorming. So we go and add it. Just keep in mind that here you can put several words, of course, as well. And if it's all words, the keywords you're gonna see must contain delivery and deliver, imagine. But what you really want, and most of the time you're gonna use, is any word, okay? And you can put several, but you'll do here, deliver, and then you can actually do asterisk to get delivery, deliveries, delivering, instead of having to write them right away. Apply, and you can see the number drastically goes down. And this is a pretty good number. And by doing the include, you're probably erasing a lot of those irrelevance that you would get because you're forcing it to show fuel relevant to your business and delivering related to your business. So probably all of this you can go and export, but I still would have a quick look because you'll be surprised sometimes you get keywords here that are not related to your business. So imagine, for example, you didn't do emergency, it's just totally not part of your business. You can actually go to add filter, exclude, and put and then I guess like that, emergencies, and you'll see the number go down right here. Now we didn't get those keywords. And then if this looks good, by doing the ratio test I told you here and here, you actually can go and export. One thing that is a little bit long to do, but I really recommend that you do it, is that you do an exporting log. And the way we do it is we treat this hierarchy, number plus number, as the seed, these as include, and these as exclude. And you can see that as you start to do a lot of exports, and you do the ratio check, the exclude list will get pretty big. If you don't do this logging system, you could be pretty confused later on. What did I do? What did I not do? Did I miss exporting some keywords? And probably this technique I'm going to teach you now, it's going to take you several days, if not weeks. So there's going to be times that you stop working and then you start maybe 2 days later and you'll be like, oh, I don't know where I left it at. And you can see it right here. And this is where the time-consuming part comes. You will do fuel and delivery, and then you will do the same with bulk again. And then it's just more of the same. Then you will go to bulk and change it for bulk. I guess like this in case of bulking, but that'll be odd. And then you can keep emergency if it's still not relevant. And then maybe for this one, you start to see, I don't know, storage. Imagine you don't have storage, so you can put storage, and now you can go and export. Keep in mind of 2 important things. Sometimes an irrelevant for one keyword, emergency, might not be an irrelevant for another keyword that you add. So you might have to take it off. And sometimes it might be, and it's good to keep it there. This is what we call creating the exclude list. And the only way to see what the exclude list should be and that it gets as big as this is by doing a lot of exports for delivery, for bulk. And as you can see here, we have a lot of them to do. One thing you have to be careful here is that it doesn't take too much time. And a technique you can do is to put keywords together as include. So for example, we have fuel, and instead of doing fuel and propane and export everything, we can actually start to put keywords together that are pretty similar. So all these were used as include. Let's do that. Fuel, and then all of these, any words included, and we have 25,000. Then we had the irrelevant rule that we got, add filter, exclude, all of them there. That was created through a lot of exports, like I mentioned. And then we get, you see, from 25,000 to 13, you can see that's like almost half was irrelevant. So we got rid of that. And doing the ratio check here, the ratio check here, what I recommend you to do when you do many at once is that maybe you do more checks than just page 1 and 2. You do like 3, 4, and 5. And if the ratio matches, good to go. You go and export. You save 25 times, 25 exports instead of having to do fuel, propane, boom. Wax, and so on, okay? Now, there's a very big mistake you can do here, so just be careful. You really need to make sure that these words are, filter 1 is that they are somewhat related to each other, because if not, what could happen is that an exclude rule here, let's say pull on, if you put fuel and propane and pull on, yes, pull on is irrelevant, but maybe for fuel, aircraft, and pull on should have been exported because that context makes it relevant. But because you put all of them together, propane and aircraft, and pull-on is going to be excluded regardless, you never see those keywords containing fuel, aircraft, and pull-on. And keep in mind that these can happen often, believe it or not. So that's the other filter check you have to do, deciding if you put keywords that are related to each other or not. So you can clearly see here, aircraft, airplane, plane, aeroplane, jet, airport, all these keywords are totally related to each other. And the exclude words here are probably valid for either airplane or jet. It's just the same thing, a different way of calling it. And the other problem doing this, it's not a problem, it's the other check you have to do, is that you make sure that a single word doesn't bring suddenly a lot of keywords at once. Because imagine we put the 25 keywords here and then we get 13,000, but imagine that this one here is bringing you, 10,000 and all of these are bringing you like 2,000 only. If that happens, you really just want to look at the big one on its own and then export whatever you have to do, exclude whatever you have to exclude, and then do the other ones separately together, okay? And let's not forget the competitors. It's pretty straightforward. You've already done the heavy lifting. It's the same thing. You put a competitor. Remember, if it's a pretty relevant competitor or direct business competitor, you could export. But if it isn't, and most of the competitors are not, we call them semi-competitors. So we have a few actually direct business competitors. Most of them will be semi-competitors, that they do what you do, but maybe other things or other variations of things that you don't really offer. Or it could just be straight up SEO competitors, like blogs. So they're not business competitors, but they are competitors in the SEO world. So like a blog or whatever. So imagine this was a blog about fuel. It could rank for stuff that we offer, but it could also rank for things that we don't offer at all. So you need to be careful with that. And all you have to do is, again, same thing here. We have keyword includes, and excludes. It just looks different. I don't know why. It contains, phrase match, and you can put them together separated by commas. Or to do exclude, you would do does not contain, and then you put them all together. And then you can do both at once. The annoying thing here, it's been a lot of years, Ahrefs doesn't add that helpful column here, remember, is very, very helpful. It doesn't have it. So the only technique to check the ratio of relevant, irrelevant, should you export, should you add more include, should you add more exclude, you don't have it here, right? So all you have to do is check this one right here. So we have it right here. You will check a few pages. It's still the most popular keywords. Actually, you should filter by volume. Forgot about that one. So we see the big ones, and then you can start to see, okay, imagine we don't offer anything with octane. We don't even know what that is. So we will go here, keyword does not contain octane. Probably it's going to be 1,168, probably, oh, not too many. It didn't mention too many of those. So, and then at least now those keywords did not come in our research, those irrelevant ones. One thing I recommend you to do to know how big your research is getting basically is as you export, okay, you can actually export all of them here, depending on the plan that you have. Obviously, you've done all the work to find the relevant, irrelevant, and then you can just export 1,000. You know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So obviously, we're doing the pro research here. So whether it's, you know, Ahrefs or other tools like SEMrush, you really need the plan that lets you export at least as many as possible. I think I have a limit, I think like 30,000 or 50, which is normally fine. You don't really do those exports of 30,000 at once. Remember, if it's really, really big, it means probably there's gonna be a lot of irrelevance. The bigger it is, the higher the chance or the ratio of irrelevance. So you can make it smaller with include and exclude. But as you export here, I recommend you to actually do CSV. Don't do this one because it will create a sheets every time and your drive will get really big. And what you can do is just add the first one here. You will add it, import, and add the first research. So upload it here. And then as you start creating more and more exports, and trust me, if you do it this way, you'll have a lot. I think I normally end up with like 250 CSVs or whatever. So the first one, imagine it's just this, you will open it, and the first one will just be create a new sheet. But the important thing is from the second one onwards, you append them. So second, third, fourth, you don't do create new sheets, you do append. There is append current sheets. So it's just added below. So imagine that's the first export, here's the second, here's the third. And then finally, what you have to do is select all the columns. Normally I just keep keyword, volume, and difficulty. You'll get a lot of extra stuff, you don't need it. And then erase duplicates, okay? Go to data, clean up, and remove duplicates. This way you know how many keywords you're getting. This is a hard number to give, but normally when I do a research, if I don't have 100,000 keywords, it probably means I'm missing stuff. And this also depends on the client, but normally I've ended up with, 200,000 and I've gone to 400,000 to 500,000 keywords. After that is probably, is either a huge client with a lot of keywords or you probably went overboard and you got too many keywords that maybe are irrelevant. But the important thing is just to keep track. So congratulations after spending a lot of time there doing that. And for me, with my clients, it takes 1 month to do this big research. Probably at the end of it, you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate that you even found this video. But once you start to get the results, you'll be happy. In this case, for my client, we ended up with almost 200,000 keywords. Sadly, we still have some work to do because this data is actually not relevant yet for an SEO. It's all single keywords. So if you have this, you don't know what to do. Oh, near me, I create a page for that. What about this one? Fuel station near me. I create a page, or should I target one page with gasoline near me and fuel station near me? It's complicated to understand, right? Here's where this tool comes into play. You can see right here, you don't have single keywords anymore. You have groups. For example, how much is a different client now? How much does a billboard cost? And all the keywords are in here clustered together, and they all mean pretty much the same. And what the tool is doing is exactly this. It will search each keyword in your research in Google. It will actually do that. It's gonna pull the top 10 successful results that are here, and it's gonna cross-check what is the overlapping between both keywords. And let's say between this keyword, now it's a little bit different, when do feeds stop growing and when do main feeds stop growing, you can see that a lot of results are ranking for both keywords, the same URL ranking for both. If it's happening several times, it will calculate it as a high similarity score, and it will then put these two keywords together instead of separate them. And by putting them together, I mean what it did here. Billboard, advertising cost, and billboard cost. It will put them together into the group, how much does a billboard cost? And each group is a page you should create targeting what keywords? The ones in the group. The great thing is this, also last week I created a video explaining this in depth with many different examples and how to even do it for free, not with this tool only. So there's a way to do it. So go and check that video. It's in the description and in the card, and you see in the thumbnail on the screen right now. So after done all the effort, if you want to be a pro SEO, you obviously cannot go one by one and do it. So you just give your whole research to this tool right here, which is in the description. The link is in the description. And as I mentioned, they're going to check everything, put it into groups. And I normally like to transfer it to my Google Sheets. I'm like a super Google Sheets geek. So I don't like this dashboard. So the end research from the client about fuel that you saw ends up with something like this. What you see here is the actual group names, so these names right here, and the keywords that we want with a lot of data there are all in here all together. And all those keywords were separated in our main research here, so I would have not known what to do or what to target, or it would have taken a lot of time. But now it's all in nice, neat little groups, so I can go and select this and create a page for it, let's say in January, like it says here. And as you can see here, those are a lot of those pages we've been creating. And then we already know what to say in this page, right? What to mention, because all the keywords have been clustered. And that is exactly what has brought these thousands and thousands of people to our website. The good thing is that if you got here, I have a super tutorial for you. That is actually the next step, is how to get these pages actually created. And it's right here in front of you. You can see it. It's in the card and in the description. So go and check that next. And now it's your turn. Let's go.